Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As always, my name is James. Why here? Why we're talking? Well, we got a minute. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. It's free to do so. I do love you. I love you even more if you do that. But regardless, guys, I'm not going to judge. Let's get into today's topic. All right, so we're actually here to talk flashlights. Not only just flashlights, but headlamps. Now, some people may say, well, I don't think that's necessarily a big deal. Why are we talking about that? We got a lot to talk about, man. Got a lot to talk about. So headlamps have evolved over the years from the old miners that had these big candles on the front of their head. But regardless, times have evolved. And it's even better now that we have LEDs, man. If you go back and you look at stuff when you were a kid, depending on how old you are, but if you go back and you look at stuff when you were a kid, and then you look at what we have now, man, it is amazing what technology has done for us and is in this beautiful country of US of A. But regardless, but we all know, and when I say headlamps, guys, I use headlamps everywhere. And you guys we all have a little bit of PTSD when you're holding a flashlight for your dad, your grandpa, or some kind of parent, or whatever you have. Then they look at you and they yell, said, "Hold that flashlight where I told you to hold it at." And you're going, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And yet it happens over and over and over and over again. Why? Because we get bored. So for me, I've just never been one to have my kids hold a flashlight for me. I'm sure I have at some point in time, but I really, really, really like headlamps. Why? Because where I look, that's where the light's at. No matter where I move my head, that's where the light goes, because I usually line it up with my eyeballs. Wherever I'm looking at, wherever I needed to look at, that's where I line the flashlight up with. So we're here to talk headlamps and why I think that there's a good headlamp. And when I say good headlamp, I need a headlamp that's going to have, well, every headlamp has multiple levels of brightness, which is great. You need multiple levels of brightness. Why? Because multiple level of brightnesses lengthen and change your battery time. So let's get that out the way. But speaking of battery time, I need them to last. Whether I have them the brightest or the lowest, I need that battery to last, because number one, my life's on the line. When you say my life's on the line, no, it's not. You're just walking through the woods. Yeah. Yeah. I've been clipped out. I'm just saying, you need good light so you can see where you're going. You can adequately get from point A to point B, wherever that may be, either from your kill spot or your last spot for hunting to your camp or to your friend or a loved one. You need to get from point A to point B and be able to see. So that's why we're here to talk about headlamps and why I think they're important. Mama's texting me. I'll text her in a second. All right. So I've been over the last 3 years just been on a mission, just as I'm at Bass Pro or Academy or Walmart specifically, wherever I see headlamps, I'm like, oh, there's a headlamp right there. And they're ranged anywhere between 10, 15, 25 bucks. And there's 5 or 6 of them right here, guys. Whoop, almost lost that one. There's just several of them right here. As you can see, this one says Energizer on it. This one, I don't even know what brand it is. I think this one was at Walmart, and this one was this Phoenix was an REI special that I got when they sent me a coupon. There's a Cabela strap, another Energizer, just random ones that I bought because I thought, okay, let me try them out, and they work, but they're just not very good. You talk about battery life, just that light, the amount of light it puts out. Now, granted, when we talk about light it puts out, we're going to use the term lumens a lot today. Now, granted, what I will say is there's a lot of things that go into how good a light is. You talk lumens, candela, thorough, lux. There's a lot of things involved. I'm not going to go down those rabbit trails, guys, because this video, I don't want to be too terribly long, but I will say this, is that we're going to just use the term lumens, and then we're going to leave it at that. And I'm going to talk lumens and battery life, and then how good it works or it doesn't work. I'm going to keep it simple for you guys. I think it's good for the length of the video. It doesn't need to be that long. So trying to keep it short, sweet, simple for us all, guys. That's it for me and for you, regardless. So this right here, I actually was at the NRA annual meeting this year, and I really enjoyed it. I'm like a kid in a candy store there. I'm not going to lie. But regardless, I came across a company called Nextorch. I also saw Olight while I was there, and I just moved on from Olight. I don't know why. I'm just saying, nothing against Olight, but I next came across this company called Nextorch. And when I was talking to him, I said, you know what? I wouldn't mind testing some gear. So I swapped information with the young lady that worked there, and she was very nice, very helpful. And through some emails back and forth, she sent me 2 headlamps. We're going to specifically talk about this one here by itself for now. The other one gets its own video, but this one right here is the Nextorch O-Star. You can see it right there on the bottom of the deal. It's a Nextorch O-Star. And I specifically used this one in Colorado just recently, so we're going to talk about this one today. And then in the terms of football, the other one, once I get more time under center, we'll talk about that one here hopefully shortly. Now, I'm going to talk a few things about this flashlight, or this headlamp, I should say. Now, granted, I do look at headlamps as a tool and a tool only, but a very valuable tool. Now, this piece of equipment here has multiple functions. Number one, it's a headlamp. I guess first and foremost, regardless of how you look at it, it is a headlamp, but it has different functions. If you have a construction helmet, you can put this thing over your construction helmet, and then this thing right here clamps down over the front lip so that basically you keep it from riding up over your helmet. And then also it actually comes off if you have an NVG clip for the front of your tactical helmet or a construction helmet. This thing will clip in there as well. Now, some people are going to say, I'm not going to talk tactics or anything like that. I do know that cops don't necessarily, in the middle of a, let's just say, for instance, if they're clearing a building for a bad guy, they're not going to necessarily run with their headlamp on and on their tactical helmet, simply because of the fact that that light becomes a target for a bad guy. All I'm saying is that maybe once that situation is done and they're doing secondary searches, maybe looking for evidence, they would then use this flashlight to help look for some small articles or something that's easy and their life's not necessarily threatened at that time. Now, what I will say is just about a month ago, driving down the road, I did see a cop had a car pulled over. I'm not sure exactly what was going on. He did appear to be searching the car, and he did have a headlamp on as well. Not this one, but he did have a headlamp on. And I thought, okay, I mean, it's just hands-free. When your hands need to be free and you need a light, a good headlamp is useful. That's what I'm getting at, guys, okay? Tactics aside, anything aside, we're just talking about when you need a flashlight and you need your hands free. All right, that's it. So this specific light here, and what I will say, the best light I had up to this moment was this REI Phoenix. And when I say best light output with battery time. Now, these right here, for the most part, they do work. Batteries don't last very well. The light output isn't that great, but they do function. They just don't put out a lot of light. An Energizer brand? Oh my gosh, this like, I mean, it's kind of pathetic. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. It's just not good. Now, this guy right here, I was very impressed. I used it last week in Colorado, and oh my gosh, man, when the wife needs something, I put this thing on. I went out into the dark, and I was like, damn, it does work very well. This one specifically, I do like the fact that you can change the angle of the light. Now, it is a little stiff. When it's on my forehead, I do have to hold the base down and then adjust this forward. If not, you end up doing this a lot, and so you have to hold the base. But that being said, not a big deal. When you want to turn it on, there's a button right here. You hold down for about 3 seconds, it turns on, and it does cycle from high, medium to low, and then high, medium to low. And then if you want to turn it off, you have to hold the button for a couple seconds, and it does turn off. Now, this one right here, pretty much the same thing. You hold it down, it turns on. It has 4 levels of function: low, medium, high, and what they call turbo. Now, this one here at maximum is 500 lumens. This one here at max is 700 lumens. When I did a side-by-side test yesterday, I did not see much difference at all. Now granted, it could be a lot of things. There's, like we said, I'm not going to go down these rabbit holes of lux, candela, throw. I'm just talking about what they say right now is lumens and output. That's what I'm going to tell you. Now, granted, 700 lumens is a lot. I'm not saying that it puts out more or less. I'm just saying they say 700 lumens. This thing here is 500 lumens. Now, let's talk runtime on this guy right here at 700 lumens. 1 hour. That's what you get. 1 hour on 700 lumens. 500 lumens on this Nextorch O-Star, you get 6 hours and 30 minutes. That's what they're advertising. I haven't even got close to that yet, so I can't tell you. I can tell you I've used it and I haven't charged it up yet. And I'm going to continue to use it until it runs out, and then at that point I'll charge it up and I'll tell you if it's really worth it or not. I have a lot of stuff planned for this thing. I used it in Colorado last week. I'm also going to the coast. I'm going to be testing this one out as well as the other one out so that I can just give you a good, adequate review. But as of right now, I'm very, very impressed. Now, granted, you have this one here at 700 lumens, 1 hour. Now you go to the second, where they call low, medium, high, and turbo. If you go from turbo to high, it's 400 lumens, and its runtime is 3 hours. 3 hours at 400 lumens, and then medium is 130 for 8 hours, and then low is 30 lumens for 42 hours. It's okay. It's decent. I would say at the time I thought this was the best light I could find as far as battery life and everything else. And then as far as this one goes, I mean, I'm pretty impressed. Just at 500 lumens at 6.5 hours, I think that is pretty dang amazing. And then if you go from, where's the box at? If you go from the medium, which is 185 lumens, it is 14 hours, and then a low is 25 lumens at 60 hours. Granted, that is a lot of battery life. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with this guy. Like, that's a lot, and I'm very impressed with Nextorch right now and their battery life. Now, granted, I still have a lot of testing to do. I have used it. I do like the brightness level. And like I said yesterday, I did do a side-by-side between this one and this one because I thought, oh, let me see the difference. And I did not notice much difference. This right here is the, well, I'll just put them up side-by-side. I'll do a side-by-side from the 700 lumens and the 500 lumens of this one, and y'all see if y'all notice the difference. I can tell you last night in the woods, I did not notice any difference. If not, maybe a little, if any at all. I'm just being honest with you. I didn't really notice any difference. But regardless, one thing I will tell you is the battery life on this one is so much more impressive than just having 1 hour at 700 lumens. Now, granted, what I will say is that it does have multiple levels, and if you're tracking an animal or something like that, 500 lumens probably wouldn't be very good for you, simply because 500 lumens will tend to whiten something out. It kind of brights it out when you're tracking, but 185 lumens is still very impressive, still a lot of light. Now, granted, the low is only, I believe it's 25 lumens, 60 hours. That's a lot of light, and that's really something like if I was if for some reason I was leaving to go to my spotting, where if I go from camp to where I'm going to be glassing, I typically don't leave camp before I can see with my own eyes. And what I mean by that is, you know how it just starts to get a little ambient light, that's when I start moving, simply because I don't like to use light at the beginning of the day. I don't want to scare off any animals that might be in the area, and I don't want to go without light because I don't want to walk up on something that I don't see and scare them out of the area. But typically I do like to have some light, some ambient light from the sun coming up before I start moving. The only time I will probably ever use a headlamp like this is if I'm just have to leave the tent in the middle of the night because I have to go to the restroom, or B, I'm out late from hunting and I need to get back to camp. So that's where this thing is going to come in handy. But I'll be honest with you, so far so good with Nextorch, guys. I'll tell you this, if you're interested in a good headlamp, now we'll talk price. I would say both of these right here, specifically the Nextorch, simply because of battery life, are right in the middle of the road when it comes to price. I have seen there are some really good headlamps out there that at least say advertise is really good, and they do seem like they're probably really good, battery life and everything, but they are extremely expensive. I say expensive for a headlamp at $100. You know, you have these right here that are just kind of like very low level. These are anywhere between 10, 15, 20 to 25 bucks, I believe, but they just don't work that great. This guy right here, I believe, is right around $60 right now. On their website they have it at $64.99. This Phoenix right here, I didn't pay this price for it because they did send me a coupon. I want to say I paid like $20 after the coupon, but it is marketed right now at $59.95. So, it's actually on sale from $80 to $59.95. So this guy right here, $65. If this wasn't on sale, you'd be paying $85 for a lesser flashlight, but it is on sale right now for $59.95. So with $5 difference, you get a lot more battery life and really good output as far as a headlamp goes. I'm just impressed with what I've seen personally and just what I read online. But regardless, guys, I hope this information helps. I'm kind of a tool flashlight kind of geek, and I do love this headlamp. I love everything about it, the output, the battery. So regardless, guys, go check out Nextorch. They are kind of a flashlight company. They even have a multi-tool, but they have a multitude of different flashlights for guns, different things like that, handheld flashlights. Guys, go check them out, guys. Regardless, I do love y'all. I will see y'all later.